We'll resume Finance Committee once again. This is ordinance number 117-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to make appropriations and provide current expenses for the daily operation of all municipal departments of the city of Cleveland for the fiscal year from January 1, 2026 until December 31, 2026. We're going to go into finance, and what I believe I would like to do, can we do read about 3 departments at a time so that we can try to move into this, or 3 of the divisions at a time? So we'll start off with administration, accounts, and assessments and licenses.
Page 142, Finance Administration, Director Paul C. Barrett. Page 143, 2025 unaudited total salaries, $1,165,265. 2026 budgeted, $1,350,341. 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $1,777,645. 2026 budgeted, $1,982,358. Page 144, 2025 staffing level, 10. 2026 budgeted, 11. Page 145, Division of Accounts, Commissioner Lanya Moss Walker. Page 146, 2025 unaudited total salaries, $1,319,904. 2026 budgeted, $1,842,448. 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $2,635,745. 2026 budgeted, $3,534,150. Page 147, 2025 staffing level, 19. 2026 budgeted, 22. Page 148, Division of Assessments and Licenses, Commissioner Dedrick Stevens. Page 149, 2025 unaudited total salaries, $1,519,866. 2026 budgeted, $1,932,113. Page 150, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $2,712,890. 2026 budgeted, $3,877,401. Page 151, 2025 actual staffing level, 24. 2026 budgeted, 35. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director?
Yeah, through the chair to the committee, we just have a real quick presentation that I'll do for all of finance. And then we have all the commissioners behind me for the different divisions, so we'll bring them up as needed to answer any questions. Just a little background of what finance encompasses. So typically, you've had a lot of divisions up here that make widgets and provide certain services like street sweeping, snow plowing, that sort of thing. Well, finance is responsible for financing everything across the city. Obviously, the only real division that I believe has any kind of widgets would be the printing and reproduction shop. The rest of it is either related to insurance with risk management, sinking fund is debt management, OBM, with the budget creation, CCA, income tax administration, and so on and so forth. So our budgets tend to be pretty straightforward because we don't create those widgets, and headcount tends to stay relatively stable. So compared to the other budgets you've seen, tend to be somewhat boring. So here is our org chart. So again, we've got 12 different divisions here. That fall under the Director of Finance, including Finance and Admin, which does a lot of the administrative management type functions for all of finance. Headcount, so just to give you an idea how big finance is, it's about 258 employees, about 174 vacancies. Many of these are actually in CCA. So when we do get to CCA, you'll see there's some challenges with civil service requirements and that sort of thing, keeping them staffed, and they are a bigger division in finance, so that's where a big bulk of these are. We also have a few challenges in assessments and licenses, things that we're working on, positions we're trying to fill. Just want to to highlight a few things that we got done this year. So contract digitalization, I know accounts had a big hand in that, but specifically shout out to Ann Tilley. She really took the ball with this and changed the way we did contracting. Again, over 300 contracts executed using DocuSign with a turnaround time of 8 days, about 8 days, when previously we were doing, I would say it was even more than 3 to 4 weeks. It was 6 weeks. And again, that's after a law has created the contract, so I just want to be clear on that. Another thing, and thank you to council for having a special session last year. I know assessments and licenses and Commissioner Stevens specifically worked incredibly hard to get the Gordon Square and downtown SIDS renewed. So that was completed in 4.4 months. Usually it takes twice the amount of time. They worked late nights and really worked hard, so I want to make sure that we recognize them. And again, thank you to council for having the special session during your recess so that we could get that passed. That's going to add about $6 million in revenue to the city because we were able to get that done quickly. I want to highlight OBM and financial reporting and control with the awards that we've received year after year for our budget book and our ACFR. So if you don't know, ACFR stands for Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And it's a good thing if you don't know what that is because we're doing such a good job that we tend to not get any write-ups and it's just released on time. And so really a shout out to Leslie Camargo, the Commissioner of Financial Reporting and Control. I think we're on 40 years of receiving the award. And the budget book, of course, Nicole, everyone's familiar with. I think we're on 33 years of earning that award on the budget book. So really, really good job by both. Grants management system. So again, you'll see when we get to the OBM section, I'm requesting 2 additional headcount to assist us with grants. Amplifund is the new software that we're implementing. It's almost completely implemented. I believe we're in a soft launch phase where we're testing it, and that'll help us to go out and obtain more grants and be more proactive. I've mentioned that several times. EMS billing being outsourced, QMC. So again, 31 to 32 million in collections recouped, and the backlog is almost completely cleared. Something headed up by Risk and Commissioner Romero. And then the new debt program. Again, thank you to council. Thank you for the summer workshops. Thank you for the discussion, the thoughtful questions. Literally, we kept a $68 million liability off our books this year by changing the debt program, and I hope we can continue to move down this path and save the city money. So again, thank you to council for being open to change and to this idea, and hopefully more to come in 2026 on various other topics. So some 2026, so anybody that's been in my office lately knows I had a whiteboard installed and I made sure to put about 20 or 30 initiatives on there. I don't have all of them listed here, but there's some very important things I want to get done this year. At the top of the list is, the travel policy essentially we've looked at. We've had some policies that haven't been looked at in years, so it's a priority of mine to go in, make sure that our policies are up to date. So the travel policy has been updated, and shout out to Meredith Baumgartner and Rita Powell in my office for working so hard on that. For instance, there were things like cabs mentioned, but not Ubers and ride shares, and so it was definitely an antiquated policy. So that's almost essentially done. Streamlining accounts receivable invoicing. We've talked about a vendor self-service program that we're looking to implement this year as well, which will change the way that folks do business with the city, hoping to speed up the that process, the invoicing process like we did with contracting, make it more efficient. And also, pet peeve of mine is all the checks that we mail out. So, we're looking to gear more towards payments, electronic payments, whether that be wire or ACH. ACHs tend to be cheaper, so that goes hand in hand with the self-service program. New debt management software, so we're looking at ways that we're not keeping track of our debt in spreadsheets and that sort of thing. Programs we can use to, for record keeping and to run our own analysis, so we don't always have to rely on our FA. The new debt program I've already mentioned. All contracts digitally. So the only exceptions to those right now that aren't in DocuSign are those where you need a notary. So at this point, the electronic notary, we're still working that out. But for the most part, I've gone to having stacks of paper for me to sign every day on my desk to just having to click buttons. So it's been great. New budget book software, you all have seen that in the budget book, just in the way it looks and being able to add the new column, for the prior year. And then I've already mentioned the strategic finance unit, which will be specific to grants and OBM. So again, I just wanted to keep this quick. I know we've got a lot of areas of finance, but that's essentially my overview. And then, as Council President said, right now we've got administration accounts and assessments and licenses up. I'll have all my commissioners come up as needed to answer any questions.
All right. Before I proceed and give how we're going to move forward, I do want to take a very brief moment, if we could. I've been notified that we lost a Division of Streets employee, a gentleman by the name of Jamar Parks Bay, who was transported to Metro and unfortunately passed away. So I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the family of Jamar Parks Bay, who just passed away, a city employee today. I think it's very important for us to always acknowledge all employees whenever they die in the line of service, okay? Thank you. We'll hold out a number for him on Monday, and please let us know when the services are. Thank you. How we're going to proceed is we're going to do these three departments. I just talked to our team over at our policy team, and they've advised me that it would be better if we just do individual departments because all of them are consecutive until we get to internal service. And because internal service, once we get down there, then we'll combine those. But we'll go ahead and hear the first three, and then we'll go from there, okay? All right, so did you guys read into all three of those already? Okay, so once again, we're doing Department Administration, Division of Accounts, and Division of License and Assessments. Councilman Michael Polisi.
I have a question for printing when they're,
Okay.
but in general, and I hope the director can talk about this, and we go through one division, one section after another. Is the high number of vacancies? Man, you're right up there. You're next to the police in vacancies, and so if you'd care to give us some explanation as to why there's so many vacant positions, and then I'll wait for printing and production.
Yeah, so through the chair to the councilman, and I think this discussion will be beneficial when CCA is up, because we do have a lot of vacancies in the taxation group, and a lot of that has been related to civil service rules and the exams that folks have to take to get those positions, and then just finding bodies to get in there, and that's also an aging workforce. So that's where the majority of them are. There's some spread out in other divisions. I know assessments and licenses has some. So as we go, obviously in admin, I don't think we have a whole lot of, if any. I think we have one vacancy there, and yeah, we can address those as we come, but the majority of those are CCA.
So of the 84, the majority of those are CCA.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, we estimate between, over 60 are probably related
Wow.
to CCA.
Wow. Okay. And the other question, and you can't give it to me now, but we've talked about this in the course of these discussions. What was very helpful with utilities, when they listed the number of people that were over 55 years of age in each division, that was very helpful for us to get a really good picture of what we're dealing with, because you just mentioned now. And then the other thing that they provided to us was the number of employees that are Cleveland residents. So I'm going to make that request, as we go throughout this budget. And again, it might not, we're at the end now, but for next year, those were very helpful to me and for all of us to get a real picture, snapshot of what's happening in some of these departments. As you saw yesterday, utilities, the majority of in each division, the majority of employees are all over 55 years of age. And we got to come up with a game plan here, because if not, we got a problem. Well, we got a problem. It's not coming. It's here now. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Councilman Kevin Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to take a brief moment to express my appreciation to the director. You bring in new, innovative ways for us to look at our debt plans and how we do things around City Hall. You know, you just don't know what you just don't know. So I just want to say thank you, Director. And over the years, I think you have saved the city a lot of money. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. Councilman Christopher Harsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering on these departments, I think Department of Finance and the total expenditures on page 143 has doubled in the last 3 years. Division of Accounts and total expenditures on page 146 has gone up 40% in the last 3 years. What's the reason for those departments' overall cost going up by?
Yeah, so through the chair to the councilman, if you look, a lot of this is, full-time permanent salaries. So if you go back to 2023, you'll see that salaries were 590,000. This year we're budgeting 1.3, and that includes the 3%, increase for non-union folks in addition to the.
Did we double the staff? Did we do a bunch of hiring in this department? Because it looks like, I don't have the 2023 numbers, but there's only 10 folks in the finance administration.
So through the chair to the councilman, I'll let Jim Gentile, he's been here longer than me, discuss staffing levels over time.
To the chair, the councilperson, yes, there's been an increase in staffing and finance admin over the last several years.
Okay, and is it the same case then in Division of Accounts? It went from 1 million salary in 23 to 1.8 million next year. So did we almost double? There's 19 people there right now? Page 146.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, we did add one this year. I'm assuming, again, we'd have to go back and look the history before I was here, but I would assume that a few positions were added to those as well. But, there's also things like the modernization and, that sort of thing that add into these budgets as well. So we want to invest in, new modern system like DocuSign to get us up to date and more modern and more efficient. So that's another.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the salary line. It's up 60% in 3 years. So I assume I can't see the total staff budget from 2020. I'm sorry, the total number of FTEs in 2023. There's at 19 now. Was this department down in the dozen folks range, and we finally got it staffed up, or? $1 million in salary for 2023 and 1.6 million next year. That's a 60% increase.
To the chair, the councilperson, they had some vacancies. They still have a couple vacancies, so that adds into us budgeting at full rate. We did add one position this year. We did add the 3% cost of living this year. And then what year? How much was it? And through the chair to the councilperson, in 2024 they were budgeted at 18, so that's a total of 4 additional since 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, and through the chair to the councilman, just looking forward to the, the other division that we read in, assessments and licenses, they do have 11 vacancies as well, even though their head count is holding steady. So we budget as if we're going to fill those vacancies.
Okay, that's all, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the 3 divisions that we mentioned? Department of Administration, Division of Accounts, and Assessments and License. Just real quick, assessments and licenses. Who writes tickets for garbage cans or dumpsters that are out there? Is that, who do you guys collect fees or anything on that?
Thank you. Through the chair, that is totally through waste collections.
Waste collection?
Yes.
So if there's a dumpster that somebody continues to put out on the sidewalk or the streets or anything else, that's waste collection?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Councilman Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, on page 149 in Division of Assessment and Licenses, under contractual services, we went from 88,000 to 572,000. Can you explain the increase? Actually, it went from 48,000 to 572,000 budgeted. Page 149 under contractual services for professional services.
Through the chair, I can assist with that question. Last year, we were extremely busy, either doing SIDS, which took up 9 to 10 months out of the year, and we didn't have time to implement the programs that we were looking to implement. In particular, we're looking this year in order to get in which we were budgeted but weren't able to spend it. We are looking to get a building as well as SIDS are growing and get a software to help us manage that as well as other permitting software.
Yeah, so through the chair to the council, if I could just add to the commissioner's point, we have a Snyder Blake contract tied up in that as well for temps to assist with some of this work. And I will point out, last year we did, we budgeted 507,000. We only ended up spending 48, but we are keeping the budgeted level the same because of the intensive work, related to the SIDS and other items.
Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, isn't Snyder Blake under Public Works?
Through the chair to the councilman, it's a citywide contract. So my understanding is if we're going to use that, then we need to use it out of our budget.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, is there any money in Public Works for Snyder Blake?
Through the chair to the councilman, I believe there is, yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, what's the total contract for Snyder Blake?
Through the chair to the councilman, I don't know that offhand, but we
And
can
then,
look that
Mr.
up.
Chairman, to the CFO, do we know how much of this 572,000 is being allocated for Snyder Blake?
Through the chair, 30,000.
So 30,000. All right, so Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, in 2025, you unaudited was 48,000. It jumped, you spent 597,000, correct?
No, through the chair to the councilman, we budgeted 597,000.
500.
We spent 48,000.
Okay, and so where did the other $510,000 go, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO? Is it still sitting there?
Through the chair of the councilperson, that would just fall to the ending balance for the city. It's in the rollover that makes up the 90 million that rolls forward to
Okay, so,
2026.
and this is interesting to know, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO. So any money out of professional services, and I'm just using, we're on licenses and assessments, right? So you budgeted for 497, 48,000 is what you spent. So we've got more than $500,000 just out of licenses and assessment that rolled into that $90 million that you want to use for bond stuff and whatever it is you want to use it for.
Yeah, so through the chair to the councilman, you'll see things like this across the city, and it
Right.
doesn't always roll to the ending balance. We'll do transfer ordinances and supplementals if it's revenue, and we'll move those things around because there are other things that come in above budget that we need to cover. So that's what we do towards the end of the
Well,
year.
Mr.
usually.
Chairman, to the CFO, did any of this $500,000 end up in a transfer order? Okay, you can.
Got it too.
Again, Mr. Chairman, the CFO, to me, this just raises a red flag, right? Not in license and assessment, it just happened to be the book that's in front of us because now we're learning, how many other professional service, contractual services under professional services in this book, and I don't think anybody was putting two and two together, haven't been spent that ended up, is this how is this how we got to the 90 million? I know it's not the main reason that we got to the 90 million, but as we're going through reconciliation and everything now, it's something that we can look at. $500,000 is an awful lot from one department to not spend, to budget for and not spend.
So through the chair to the councilman, we wouldn't have budgeted this way if we didn't think we were going to spend it this year. And I think the commissioner talked a little bit about what he's looking to use it for. You will see throughout the book, throughout these hearings, we pointed out areas where people did not, other divisions did not spend their budget last year, and we actually lowered the budgeted amount to better reflect that. So it's not like we consistently over budget certain areas so that we have savings at the end. That's not what we do at all, and that's not efficient at all for the city. So we do budget according to what we think we'll actually spend. We think we'll spend those funds this year, and we'll need them in assessments and licenses. But you will see, like I said, throughout the book in other divisions, those amounts lower.
And then my last question, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO. You say that Snyder Blake was in here because it's a citywide contract, right? But it's also in Parks, you know, the Parks Department. We know 30,000 of this. If you could get to us how much we spend on Snyder Blake, because I'm under the assumption that we use Snyder Blake for seasonal summer help in our parks.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, we can get that for you. I know several divisions use them, and we take it out of each division's budget because
And
it's
then,
their employees.
and then with 30,000 going to Snyder Blake, what was the other 560,000 for that assessment and licenses planned on spending but didn't?
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, I'll let the commissioner expand on, you know, what he thinks he's going to need for professional services this year.
Through the chair, it is, last year, we had planned to do a billing and collection software. We weren't able to do that. We're going to do it this year, as well as we're also doing our special improvement districts and our energy projects on Excel spreadsheets. We need software to help us to manage that because that is growing at a tremendous number. Right now, it's about $79 million of projects for the energy projects. Last year, between last year and the end of 2004 that haven't rolled on, it's another $300 million coming aboard. We need software to help us manage that, as well as for our Acela permitting.
All right, and then Mr. Chairman, to the commissioner, if we could just get a breakout of what you spent, well, you didn't spend money last year, but what you intend to spend the professional services money on this year, because I have a hard time believing that Department of Assessment and Licenses doesn't have Excel.
No, they
All
haven't,
right.
so.
I'm just saying. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Through the chair to the councilman, I just want to be clear. When he said spreadsheets, he meant Excel, not paper. So they have that, but there's more efficient. Like I know we implemented Salesforce with economic development, just more consistent.
All right, thank you, Councilman Michael Polensek.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What section handles procurement, contracts, et cetera?
Through the chair to the councilman, that would be the Division of Purchases and Supplies.
Okay, so my question is this. For the bids, I'm assuming they were bids, and we'll find out very quickly, like for the $500,000 for the signage here in City Hall, did that go out for bid? Who can answer that question?
I mean, through the chair to the councilman, if we could wait until purchasing and supplies is up to address
Okay.
those, I have my commissioner here. and
Okay,
she
I'd like
can-
to know that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll wait, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. I think that concludes the first three divisions. I do want to say, Director, I want to thank your commissioners that are here too. I don't know if you want to announce or introduce all of your commissioners that are here. Some new council members may not know who they are.
Yeah, so through the chair to the council, it's a lot of people in this room. I know we have,
Put the ones at the table and then
so we've got Commissioner Lanya Moss-Walker and Al Nazario, who backs her up. And we've got Commissioner Dedrick Stevens from Assessments and Licenses, and I'm sorry, Commissioner Walker and Al are both from Division of Accounts.
Thank you. And just want to commend them as well. A lot of people in the listening audience may not know this, but commissioners are very, very essential to city operations. And I've had the privilege of watching their work over the years. So thank you so much. You got a great team. Just want to make sure I acknowledge
To
that.
the council president, I agree. It's one of the best I've ever worked with. So appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, that concludes Department of Administration, Division of Accounts, Division of Assessments. Team, can you guys go to Division of Treasury?
Page 152, Division of Treasury, Treasurer Natalie Banks. Page 153, 2025 unaudited total salaries, 474,448. 2026 budgeted, 723,816. Page 154, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, 753,609. 2026 budgeted, 1,131,498. 2025 staffing level, 7. 2026 budgeted, 9. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director?
Yeah. Through the chair to the committee, just want to introduce Treasurer Natalie Banks coming to the table, who heads up our Treasury division, and we're here to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Division of Treasury?
Just briefly, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Valencia.
Mr. Chairman, to the director and to the commissioner, nice to see you again. Are all of the financial institutions that we're depositing funds with, are they in compliant with the CRA requirements?
So through the chair to the councilman, and I can let the city treasurer chime in. My understanding is the CRA specific requirements are federal requirements, and those institutions have to be in compliance with those. We also have sub-CRI requirements as well that are more city specific.
Okay.
And I know there's been challenges there with code, with actually obtaining that data from the financial institutions. I know KeyBank, I believe, is in compliance, fully in compliance, but I can let the treasurer expand
thank
a
you.
little bit.
All right. Any other questions?
No, the treasurer
for
was going to
Division of
respond.
Treasury?
She was going to respond.
Go ahead.
Through the chair to the councilman, as far as the requirements under city ordinance, it is the Department of Community Development that is responsible for determining if a depository is compliant. So our latest communication with them, they indicated that KeyBank was compliant, but I'm not sure about the other depositories, but that is handled out of community development.
God help us. Okay. Because that's a shell. That's what's left up there is a shell. So again, Mr. Chairman, to the finance director, obviously, community development has to be accountable to you, their budget, correct?
Through the chair to the councilman, I know they've had challenges this year. They're not directly accountable to me. They report up to Chief McNair. But we are working with them to the best of our ability.
Okay. Well, I would just hope that we drive this. You've heard in the course of this budget hearings the concerns we have about lack of investment in our neighborhoods, issues with building and housing, abandoned homes, people cannot get loans, can't get mortgages. I mean, again, I want to just continue to stress, we should not be putting any city money in any institution that does not comply with the Community Reinvestment Act. We work against ourselves. We got to support those institutions, and I don't care who they are, that are willing to supply loans and mortgages and car loans and everything else, home improvement loan, the people in the city of Cleveland. I'll rest my case. I've raised this in the past. I'm going to continue to raise it until we have assurances out of the administration that somebody's bird dogging this stuff. If I have to rely on community development, if we have to rely on community development, we're screwed, okay? Because they don't have the greatest track record. So that's got to change. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions for the Division of Treasury? Councilman Christopher Harsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The revenue, through the chair, could you tell me why it yo-yos so much? 28 million, then 39 million, then 32 million, and now we're projecting 27 million. Why does that, I think if it's the interest, why does it go up and down so much?
So through the chair to the councilman, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Obviously, interest rates. So we have money with our financial institutions that earn interest. Interest rates have fluctuated over time. You've seen them go up, I think, above 5% over the last few years, and now they're down to about 3.5 to 3.75%. So that's part of it. Also, we had $511 million years ago in ARPA funds. So having a higher cash balance adds to our interest, and then as that's getting drawn down, that's why you're seeing a budgeted amount that's lower, because interest rates are trending down, as well as that spend down of the ARPA funds,
Okay.
which should be completely spent this year.
Okay. And through the chair, I heard you say earlier in the budget hearings that you were also projecting lower interest rates because that's where the Fed that's where the president wants the Fed to go. So to be conservative, pretend he wins, get lower interest rates, we get less money.
Through the chair to the councilman, that's the general idea. It's obviously more complicated, but yes.
I get it. That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Division of Treasury? Any comments? Okay. Once again, had the privilege of working with Commissioner Banks for years. Doing a great job. Thank you. All right. We'll move to Division of Purchases and Supplies.
Page 155, Division of Purchases and Supplies, Commissioner Tiffany White Johnson. Page 156, total salaries 2025 unaudited, $515,476. 2026 budget, $684,032. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $782,980. 2026 budget, $1,047,168. Page 157, staffing levels, 2025 actual 7, 2026 budget 10. Mr. Chair.
New sheriff in town. Director?
Through the chair to the council, just want to introduce Commissioner Tiffany White Johnson, who does a stellar job for purchases and supplies. And I think this budget is pretty much flat with a flat head count, but we're here to take any questions you may have.
Councilman Polensek?
Director and Commissioner, good to see you. How is the bid process? How do we go out for bid here through the chair, to the director, and to the commissioner?
To the chair, to the councilperson, each department and division is considered a subject matter expert. They would prepare a requisition in our financial system with the specifications of the actual items that they need to purchase. It's routed to the Division of Purchasing Supplies with the funds encumbered already.
Okay.
Once it gets to the Division of Purchasing Supplies, we actually go out for a competitive bid. We post it. Once the bids come back in, there is an evaluation process. A vendor is selected, and a purchase order is awarded.
Okay, thank you. And you would do this for all departments and divisions?
Council Chair to the councilperson, yes.
So then on the $500,000 plus that was spent for new signage in City Hall, was that a bid? Was there a bid that went out for that?
Council Chair to the councilperson, yes, it did go out to bid.
Okay, so through the chair to the director, to staff, I'd like to see who bid on the 500. I cannot believe we spent $500,000 on signage in City Hall. I gotta see the proof will be in the pudding. When I saw that figure, I said, that can't be right. But I want to see it. I want to see that. And the reason I'm saying that, because I'm going to, my own experience, I was in the Collinwood, to the chair and to I was in the Collinwood Rec Center last year. Well, I go there all the time, but I happened to be in, I walked in the kitchen, and I saw this little rinky-dinky white refrigerator sitting there in the kitchen. And I said to staff, what is this? I said, because everything in there was stainless steel and commercial grade. They said the commercial rec center is 15 years old. The refrigerator gave up, and they felt to get it fixed it would have cost more. So I said, okay, fine. We have summer lunches here. We got kids in here all the time. We got to have a big refrigerator in here to support all these programs. And I said, what else needs to be fixed? They said, well, we got 2 treadmills that are not working. I said, okay, I'll pay for the treadmills and the refrigerator. When I got that bill, I almost had sticker shock. It was just under 50 grand. And I said, what the frick is that refrigerator made out of, platinum? So that's why I cannot understand why some of these prices that we're paying for equipment and get things done around here are so high. I'm trying to think, is there something in our bid requirements that escalates the prices? I mean, a refrigerator, I'm talking about a commercial refrigerator. That thing was a fortune. And I said to myself, something ain't right here. Maybe something is right here, but and that's what I need to understand. What do we are we going out? We're putting bids out to everybody who sells refrigerators, or how do we do this?
Council Chair, to the councilperson, yes, we actually posted on the City of Cleveland's website, as well as we asked departments to provide us with vendors that offer that service. And then inside the Division of Purchasing and Supplies, we have vendors that we work with that will send items, requests for invitations to bid to as well. So we try to send it out to as many vendors as possible.
I was just like, that I couldn't believe what we paid for a refrigerator and 2 treadmills. And now they want me to place some other equipment, and I'm figuring if I have to go rob convenience stores in the neighborhood, okay, to pay for it. So the fact of the matter is, I just didn't understand what the bid process. So everything is online, posted. We try to get the lowest and best bid possible.
Council Chair, to the
Best
councilperson, yes.
supplier to vendor.
Yes.
So nobody could do better than 500 Gs out here for signs then, huh?
Council Chair, to the councilperson, I don't have the specifications right in front of me, but we did put it out to bid for a complete competitive bidding process.
Man, okay. That's all I'm trying to find out. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Councilman Polensky, Councilman Casey.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Madam Chairwoman, to the Commissioner, Director, Commissioner, have you ever gotten a request and said, no, we can't do that, it's too expensive or whatever?
Council Chair, to the councilperson, not that I know of that we would actually deny a department. If they have the funds and the specifications to actually put it out, we would put it out for them.
All right, Madam Chairwoman, to the Commissioner, have you ever gotten an invoice and said, wow, there's no way, we're not gonna pay this, that it's overinflated?
Council Chair, to the councilperson, absolutely. And we would go back out for a rebid, which we do quite often, or we would reach out to a vendor and ask them to match our current pricing.
All right, Madam Chairwoman, to the Commissioner, the mayor's chair for over $2,000. When that came to you, did you ever think, wow, that's probably a little bit too expensive to be paying for a chair?
Council Chairperson, to the councilman, I did not see that particular one. It did go through a complete competitive bidding process, but I did not see that one in particular.
And then, Madam Chairwoman and Commissioner, just to piggyback off of what Councilman Polensky said, I would really like to know who took a bid for a chair like that, how much more of the bids that came back, what the bids were. $2,000 for a chair is just a lot. Just like Councilman Polensky with the refrigerator, I'd love to know how much that refrigerator was. If you walk into Home Depot, you're gonna pay $1,500 for a good refrigerator, I think. I don't even know, right? But if we're turning around and through our bid process, paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, I don't know how this goes, but it does seem like anything that the city purchases is overinflated, and we pay that price compared to what the average person could be able to get it on the regular market. I don't know what the rules are because we're using public funds, but I know my residents would rather see me go to name a furniture store and pick out a chair, right, and pay $200 as opposed to going through the bid process and paying $2,000. Same with the refrigerators or whatever it is that we're purchasing. I mean, why is it that when we go out to bid for something, these bids come back so overinflated and then yet we still purchase them? Now, to the Commissioner, the CFO, anybody in the back wants to raise their hand, I don't care.
Through the chair of the council person, I mean, we're required under state law to take the lowest and best. So it boils down to who bids on these items. I will say we're in the process of implementing something called vendor self-service. It's part of our Advantage financial package that we've had since 2010. It will allow vendors, no matter where you're at, to actually bid on our items. So what we're hoping when we open this up to more competitive bidding across kind of everywhere, we should start seeing some better prices when we do that. So this year we will be implementing that. We're starting with bids under 50,000. At some point later on this year, we'll be going over 50, and the competition's much better. I mean, we're under an old system where all the people that bid have to physically come down there. If you ever go down by purchasing or hanging around the hallways for the bid opening, there will be an electronic drop box that people can bid on this without coming here.
Mr. Chair, did you want to add on?
Through the chair to the councilman, I think Jim told it correctly. I mean, this is part of the reason why we're trying to modernize City Hall. I mean,
Modernize City Hall with $50,000 drapes, $2,000 chairs, $500,000 in signage, and then you're talking about modernizing City Hall. And I'm not just talking about the mayor's office. Madam Chairwoman of the CFO, this is across the board. So what it costs somebody in the 50/50 sidewalk program, you can just do it yourself with the contractor for a third of that. What it costs us to put in an ADA ramp on the corner when we redo a street, 4 or 5 times more than what a regular contractor to get a street redone.
Yep.
3, 4 times. It's a scam, right? Is what it is.
So through the chair to the councilman, what I meant by competitiveness was, our modernization is to increase competitiveness so that we get more bids. I see some of these RFP responses in, we may only get a few. We're hoping to up that, and by making the process easier to get more bids, to make it more competitive, to drive down prices. So that's a big, initiative that we have this year. It's one of my primary initiatives to get this VSS, make it easier to do business with the city, and make it cheaper for the city to do business.
All right, and Madam Chairwoman, the Commissioner, this is not a knock on you, and I don't want to dip in somebody else's war, but if we could see how much Councilman Plensick paid for that refrigerator out in Collinwood, for the price he paid for it, it should have come stocked for a whole year. But we would like to know exactly how much he paid for that refrigerator, just to see, maybe try to prove my point. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so, but I'd love to see the price of that refrigerator. Thank you.
And the 2 treadmills.
And the tread, whatever he paid for that. How much, whatever, because we know how much it would cost us to go out and buy a refrigerator or buy a treadmill, and we want to see how much the city pays for that kind of stuff, because maybe we're all in the wrong business. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Councilman Slife.
Thank you, and I kind of want to build off what Councilman Casey's saying by just asking, kind of, in this circumstance where you would reject a bid because it's too high, I used to work for a construction company, and they had estimators. Like, do we have estimators that are going out to figure out what the market price is for a treadmill, so that how do we analyze what's brought to us for a 88 ramp against sort of market rate and make decisions from there? Because I think our fear, obviously, is that people are overcharging us, and in our need to get stuff done, we are overpaying. So is there an estimator or some other process that allows us to get a baseline of what things should cost, so that we can negotiate on behalf of ourselves?
Council Chair, to the council person. So we actually have a 2-part process. We rely on the department to do the actual market research, as well as the Division of Purchasing and Supplies will do some research as well to find out specifically if we are paying too much, if we feel like we're paying too much, or if we feel like the market offers better pricing. So there's a 2-part to that. It's actually the department as well as the Division of Purchasing and Supplies.
I would add to that. I'm curious to know also how you diversify vendors, right? I mean, is it always based on the price, or could it be just, do they get extra points if they're from the city of Cleveland?
Council Chair, yes. So we actually, it's awarded on lowest and best. And so best could be delivery, best could be a number of factors. So no, it's not always just the pricing.
Thank you, Chair. Because I think the other aspect that's not intuitive is if I needed a desk in my office, I'm not going to go to a vendor and pay an intermediary to find me a desk. I'm just going to go to Levin and buy a desk. Are there opportunities to buy things directly rather than through vendors? And that seems to be a place where price could increase, because now we are paying someone to do. I can go to I can go to Staples and buy paper, you know, and we can just reimburse ourselves rather than having to go through vendors who obviously have to add the cost of their service into the price that we are then having to pay.
So, Council Chairperson, to the councilman, there is a small opportunity for that. It's through petty cash. But because these are public funds, we actually require that the vendors abide by state laws and rules and regulations of our codified ordinances. So, no, there's really not a large opportunity to do that.
That's what increases costs. So, there you go.
Thank you. Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Jasmine Santana to Commissioner Johnson. Looking here on page 155, you have output metrics, and this is a request for information. Would want to know, before I get into my questioning, a breakdown of these columns in terms of, you know, the competitive bid process and who. So if I can get a list, breakdown from the columns 1 through 5. And that's information that's requested later, once you can gather it together. The next set here is looking at, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Chairwoman, to the Commissioner, is the competitive requirement contracts process was 136. What does that number represent in terms of dollars and cents?
So, Council Chairperson, to the councilman, I do not have that exact number with me, but I can provide that to you, absolutely.
Can you give me a rough estimate? You don't have to be exact, a preliminary estimate of what it could be, unless the CFO, I see he waving it. So are you gonna take it all?
Through the chair to the councilman, we just want to, you know, avoid just throwing numbers out there, so we want to get you something
I see.
accurate.
So then we'll wait for it then, Mr. Chairman. So let's stay there on number 3 for a second. These contracts that come in, I want to make sure I'm on the same page. The staff that you have, do they go through the process and say who gets it and who doesn't, or is it a committee kind of approach with the various different departments? How does that process work?
Council Chairwoman, to the councilman, for bids over 50,000, the subject matter experts, which are the departments, actually complete the evaluations. The Division of Purchasing and Supplies takes their own recommendation, comes back to it, and just confirms that the vendor that they selected meets all of the right criteria and our laws. And then from there, it goes to the Board of Control. The Board of Control actually makes the final award.
And who are the members of the Board of Control?
Council Chairwoman, to the councilperson. The Board of Control is a group of directors here at the City of Cleveland that meet every Wednesday to approve all purchases in amounts greater than $50,000.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, I know this question came up earlier in hearings, and these are the meetings, again, that are on at Wednesday o'clock at 3 o'clock, or every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and are live streamed.
Great. So I'm going to have to jump on some of those meetings. One of the things that's really important to me, Mr. Chairwoman, to the Commissioner, is embedded racism and discrimination within systems and institutions. And it doesn't matter who becomes the leaders, so to speak, the system still will do what it's doing. And we've been sitting here at this table for a long time, and as an elected official representing citizens in my neighborhood and just knowing about various different business owners and African-American business people throughout this city, it's been very difficult for them to get a niche into the system and get work. So I would like to know a little bit more about those processes, how that process works, and how do we, you know, look at and how many credits, or do we give any points to African American business owners in the city of Cleveland, as well as businesses? So it doesn't technically have to be just African American businesses, but people who have business in the city of Cleveland. How do we get them at this table and delivering services and goods to us?
Council Chairperson, to the councilman, that particular role is actually driven by the Department of Equal Opportunity. We work very close with them to ensure that we are utilizing those vendors, and those particular vendors receive our invitations to bid. But that that function is actually monitored by the Office of Equal Opportunity.
And that's with so they work with you and in terms of dealing with that.
Yes.
And then when we get some time, I'd like to get an orientation of it so I can have a better idea, because oftentimes we sit here at this table and we don't know all the processes, how you got to where you got. We just know that there's certain outcomes, and you may have certain situations that probably there needs to be a little bit more education, a little bit more awareness about how your process works to be able to get contracts and to bid in this entire process. Do you guys have any kind of, Mr. Chairwoman to the Commissioner, do you have any kind of training formats or forums that if businesses want to do business with the City of Cleveland, there's some kind of seminar of how and what to do?
Council Chairperson, to the Councilman, yes, we do. Every first Tuesday of the month, we have an open house. We consider it our one-stop shop, where our office, as well as the Office of Equal Opportunity, we get together and we train vendors on how to do business with the City of Cleveland.
I think that's great. So, you know, it's really good. I really appreciate the work you do. And I'll go back to my colleague, Mike Polensek. And this is several years ago, probably about at least 6 years ago, there was water coming into the city of Cleveland, flowing in, and it was messing up the mural inside the Cleveland City Council. And it was really quite bad. This is before Justin Bibbs' administration got into power. And City Hall, technically speaking, was falling apart. And the place looked dreary. Since this administration has been in, I'm a council member who believes that we should always be constantly investing into the people's house, that we should be constantly investing into making sure that our staff and the people who do work for the people of the city of Cleveland have an environment that is conducive to work in, and has the bright energy that has been brought. I like the signage that has been done throughout these hallways. I like the seats that have been established, and I hope that we can get some more art up and down the hallways like we did. I think that all of that helps to lift the spirits when you walk into this hall. And I've been coming down here since 1978 when I was a kid. So I really like the improvements, and I think we should continue to invest in that. If we can give, and this is to those who are sitting at the table, if we can give $20 million to the rich people with their sports franchises and all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to probably they're going to come back to us again, we should be able to give that kind of money to our neighborhoods as well. We should take that kind of money and invest it in ourselves, in this city, into people, into creating jobs, into making our city safe, and improving our educational systems. So with that being said, I'm going to get off of my, yield my time to the chairwoman. I really appreciate your leadership, and I look forward to having somewhat of a discussion and a tour and a understanding how your department works, and I just want to thank you for doing the good job that you're doing.
Thank you for staying within time. Hearing no other questions, can you read in Bureau of Internal Audits?
Page 158, Bureau of Internal Audit, Manager Natasha Brandt, CPA, Esquire, CGMA. Page 159, total salaries 2025 unaudited, $449,985. 2026 budget, $627,946. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $859,833. 2026 budget, $1,414,138. Page 160, staffing levels 2025 actual 4, 2026 budget 8. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Manager, or do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Natasha Brandt, Manager of Internal Audit. I'd also like to acknowledge my staff who is watching.
Yeah.
They are Tamar Jensen, Dawn Roberts, Letta Gersha, Angelina Lagunzid, Ann Fox, and Joseph Callentine. They're great to work with, as well as dedicated employees to the city.
Got it. I love when directors give shout outs to their staff. So I'm not sure if you're going to present on this or director.
So through the chair to the councilwoman, again, there's not a whole lot to this budget. The one thing I will point out is the increased headcount. So this is this is a smaller division. This is one of those divisions that we have had a few challenges with filling roles. We are adding an additional auditor to assist with the work. So we're going from 7 headcount to 8. But I can let the manager, talk a little bit more about that.
Got it. And I would just ask, I know that this budget nearly doubled from 2023 to 2026. Started at 604,000, now it's at 1.4 million.
I can address that. So internal audit manages the external audit, which includes 2 SOC reports. We then pay the entire bill on behalf of the city for the entire financial audit as well as the 2 SOC audits. And then later on in the year, we then
Stop, sorry.
allocate those costs to the divisions and departments as necessary. So we have to budget for 100%, but then reallocate it to enterprise divisions, grants that are audited, as well as, for the SOC 1 reports to CCA and Department of Water.
Got it. And then I do see professional service went from previously 0 to 175.
So the
yes.
SOC 1 audits are housed in the professional services area, so that's the one that I need the funds in order to pay the bill, and then once it's allocated out, then it goes to zero balance.
Got it. Thank you. Councilman Jones, any other questions? No? Okay. Councilman Jones, 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, to Manager Natasha Brandt. Looking here at this, what causes an audit?
Have an audit plan where we actually determine what areas based on a risk assessment, which is based on the financials. We have normal audits that we do annually. We audit every payroll that comes out every 2 weeks. We audit petty cash at 100%. We do inventory audits, which you can see the statistics on our front page. And then we have requested audits, that being whether we're helping out a certain division in a certain area. We also answer all fraud complaints for the city of Cleveland. So that can require a lot of work. We may have management requests. Lately, it is participating in Workday in order to make sure that that would be running smoothly when it is up and running. So probably 60% of our work is planned, and the other 40 is unplanned. It could be higher depending on the year.
So you have showing here on page 160, Madam Chairwoman, to Mrs. Brandt, you have 2 auditors, and they do all of this work?
Through the chair to the councilman, we do have audit staff who is currently in the budget of public utilities.
Public utilities?
Correct.
Okay. So I know we have a total here, it is 8. So when you bring public utilities in, I presume, is that the only department that you have, or?
That's the only other division or department that funds internal auditors.
And how many auditors is it total? Total 3?
3, yes.
Okay. So Madam Chairwoman, I thank you to the manager for doing a good job in the city of Cleveland. Have you been here along with us for a while?
I have been with the city for over 15 years, through the chair to the...
15 years?
Yes.
Well, I'm quite sure being here 15 years, you must be doing a great job. And really appreciate the time that you do. I know that doing audit work can be a doozy. And you certainly have to have an analytical mind to be able to go through all of that paperwork. And just want to say thank you for serving the citizens of the city of Cleveland. Madam Chairwoman, I yield my time back to you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Thank you, Manager. That concludes the questions for this session. Next up, can you read in Division of Risk Management? Right, that's the way you guys were doing that in Benjamin.
Taxation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Division of Taxation, CCA. I don't know why I
Page
crossed it out.
391, CCA Income Tax Administrator Daniel Clark. Page 392, total salaries, 2025 unaudited, $4,488,413. 2026 budget, $6,254,698. Page 393, total expenditures, 2025 unaudited, $10,733,751. 2026 budget, $15,032,272. Page 394, staffing level, 2025 actual, 68, 2026 budget, 112. Madam Chair.
Director?
Yeah, through the chair to the council, I just want to make the introduction to Danielle Clark. She's only been with us a few months. Reason being is that Kevin Preslin was the former head of the CCA and was promoted to assistant director, so he's now an admin. So this is a success story. Very, very proud of Kevin and where he's come, and excited to have Danielle here. So just wanted to make those introductions.
Thank you. Administrator, would you like to share?
Through the chair, I just want to say thank you to the director for the introduction, and I'm happy to be here to serve the city of Cleveland. Just to give a little background, I come from the Cuyahoga County Office of Budget and Management, and the Adams Board is their previous director of finance. So, thank you.
Got it. Oh, Mr. Preston, right?
Preslin, correct, yeah. To the chair, for those of you that know me, yes, Kevin Preslin was the income tax administrator through the end of last year for approximately 5 years. Just a couple things I wanted to note relate to the Division of Taxation, or CCA, responsible for income tax administration for the city of Cleveland, as well as approximately 3 dozen municipalities across the state. As a result, that makes our budget an agency fund, and that can speak to Councilman Polenzic's questions previously related to open headcount. As a result of being an agency fund, we have additional headcount to be prepared for retirements, to be prepared for shifts in work, to be prepared for anything that comes our way. And those are headcount that cannot be transferred to other departments or divisions throughout the city. So just because we have additional headcount does not mean other divisions or departments have a lesser headcount. It just provides that flexibility for us to hire on a moment's notice for various reasons. And happy to answer questions you may have.
Okay, I have Councilman Casey and then Harsh.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Madam Chairwoman, to the Assistant Director or new Commissioner, can people file their taxes yet with the CCA online?
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, that opened up at the beginning of the year through e-file as well as the standard paper forms that we have on our website.
Right, but go ahead.
Through the chair to the councilman, I just want to add one quick thing. There is a new CCA website that went live last year. I know the last one was pretty clunky, so I would invite you to go out, take a look, and give us any feedback. Yeah.
But when I get my taxes done every year, he files everything except the city, but we can do that now, correct?
Through the chair to the councilman, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Harsh?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe that the majority of Cleveland's general fund is raised through income tax, right? So through the chair, why is that not reflected in this department? Because there's only like 10 million or 15 million in revenue.
So through the chair to the councilman, this is what offsets the operations for CCA. So this is not total income tax.
Okay.
It's just what offsets the expenses.
Everything else goes straight to the general. This is just covering the cost.
Through the chair to the councilman, that's correct.
Okay. I say it every year, and I'm going to keep saying it every single year. Filing city taxes is the most magical experience I have as a taxpayer. The federal is weird. The state is weird. I pick up the city one. It's one piece of paper. I answer a few questions, and it's always within a penny. Collections is always within a penny of what I paid. It's perfect every single year. Like, you pull the exact right amount of money. At the end of the year, everything is flush. And it just, once again, it happened again this year. Last year, I'm sure it'll happen again this year. So, job well done.
Thank you.
That's all.
Are you done?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, Councilman Jones, and then I have Councilwoman Hudson.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Chairwoman, to Mrs. Clark, if we would move over to page 391, Can we get a breakdown on the different administrators? You got the income tax administrator, and you bring it all the way on down. We'd like to have a listing of that.
Through the chair of the councilman, yes, that we can provide that.
And then looking here on page 392, can you tell me about professional services? What that is?
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, we have a few contracts within the division that are annual. The largest one is our data processing support services. A large chunk of that is our IT staff that allows us to be nimble in terms of not having quicker turnaround as it relates to any people that may be moving to different positions, needing to ramp up, needing to ramp down. It also was utilized for our e-file upgrade a few years ago. In addition, we have scanning and data services through there. As you can imagine, we have a lot of paper. We have certain requirements through Ohio law, so that it helps us get everything organized, make sure that we keep the records that we're required to keep. We also have some web design services in there, as mentioned by the CFO. That was a project last year with some residual into this year. We have shredding and purging services through that. And lastly, we have some security guard services that help man the 205 West St. Clair entrance and rear entrance.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked, Madam Chairwoman, was as I'm looking at this to our administrator, it is 1.8 million, and it's identical to what we spent last year. So nothing has increased. It's all the same. It appears to be. And if you could, Madam Chairwoman, to the administrator, if you could give us a breakdown of that, I'd be appreciative of that.
Through the chair to the councilman, just want to be clear, the 1852 was what was budgeted last year. We spent 1.5, so we're actually a little bit under budget. But for, what the assistant director mentioned, for those uses, we believe that we'll spend all of those funds, so we'll get that list to you.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, to our CFO. I've always been a fan of Cleveland, and being a fan of Cleveland, you want to make sure that Clevelanders, if they are eligible to get some of these contracts, have an opportunity. How many of these businesses in the 1.5 million spent actually are in the city of Cleveland? Do we know?
Through the chair to the councilman, I don't know off the top of my head, but we can get that to you.
And so that would be important, to always be constantly changing how we do business to make sure that we support people who are paying their taxes in the city of Cleveland, who are doing business in the city of Cleveland, who do this kind of work. We want to try to do everything we can to make sure that they're aware of these opportunities. And then I don't know how that's done. How is these jobs letted out? How do we choose these to give these professional contracts out? How does that work?
Through the chair of the councilman, we work through the division of purchasing similar to any
That's
other
it,
division
yep.
or department.
I presume. So I will be sitting down with her and having a conversation. So, Madam Chairwoman, I have no further conversation. I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hudson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to CFO, Councilman Casey asked about e-filing returns. Is it possible to e-file returns not just through the CCA website, but when you're using other tax prep software like TurboTax or TaxAct?
Through the chair of the councilwoman, so when we're dealing with different tax platforms, since they are all different competitors, they're all one-off solutions, particularly on the local level. There are a few that we work with that have us review their forms each year. It isn't a straight electronic filing, but it will print out information via whatever is inputted for the federal and state return. Others we've attempted to work with and just aren't interested given the federal platform that they have and the additional cost that would likely be added on.
So the short answer to that is our e-file is the only way to directly electronically file, but we do work with a few others.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, is it possible to e-file if you are a small business owner and file a Schedule C?
Through the chair of the councilman, not at this time. On the business side, you can submit your withholdings payments, and you can also, if you have any penalty or interest, but the return itself, as well as a individual with a Schedule C, would require filing through the paper or on our website return.
Can you, through the chair, can you file electronically through the website if you're filing a Schedule C as a small business owner?
Through the chair of the councilwoman, not file. The form is on the website as well as an interactive version of the form. So there's calculations embedded into a good number of our forms that will calculate out the tax, but it would still require mailing it in, dropping it off, methods like that.
Yes, thank you. Do you, through the chair, do you have plans to change that in the future? I've been a small business owner, and my husband and I file Schedule Cs for many years, and unfortunately, the city's process for filing a tax return for small business owners is extremely burdensome.
Through the chair to the councilwoman, so again, this is our initiative to modernize City Hall when we talk about this. So we've already, I know Kevin was under the helm when we set up this new website, which it's a big improvement over the last website, but we do understand that there's other things that we could be doing to make it more efficient and easier for taxpayers to file. So we're constantly looking at those things, and we'll continue to look at them. The system that we previously had was pretty old. So at this point, we're trying to modernize and update. We'll look at all of that. We're happy to work with you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Councilman Casey?
Thanks for allowing me back on. Just one real quick question, Mr. Chairman, to the Assistant Director. A couple of years ago, we had the discussion at the table about when you send the estimates for taxes that are owed to the city, and a penalty for being late or a fee for being late, which would incur before the April deadline to file your taxes. Did we correct that situation?
Through the chair to the councilman, partially. In terms of the amount of the fee, it has been decreased for tax years 2023 and forward. It was previously up to $150 per return. It is now capped at $25 per return. The deadlines itself related to payment are still in place and are centralized throughout the state of Ohio. For most taxpayers, it isn't an issue that have withholdings from their employer, but if you're going to owe after withholdings or non-withholdings more than $200, there are rules in place to have that payment in by the end of January. Either 90% of what you believe that balance is, or 100% of the previous year if you're in a profession where that can be uncertain year to year. So those penalties are still in place.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, to the Assistant Director, when does the city send to somebody what their estimated taxes that they owe would be? It's before January, isn't it?
Through the chair to the councilman, taxpayers do have the option when they are filing their previous year's return to fill out a section on our return, so that they will get basically mailed coupons or slips to them. That usually starts with the second quarter because, as you can imagine, people are filing and we're processing, so it takes us a minute to get to it. But there does need to be an action taken by the taxpayer to proactively get that. Otherwise, it's on the taxpayer to look at their forms or attempt to estimate what they may or may not owe, because we might not necessarily know that information in advance.
All right, so let me just see that I get this correct, right? So my bill, Madam Chairwoman to the Assistant Director, we're just going to use 2025. That bill to the city is due by January 31st or something like that, correct?
Correct.
Even though I'm not filing my taxes for 2025 until whatever the filing deadline is, when April something, April 1st, April 15th. So the city wants me, and if this is a state law or whatever, to pay what I owe for 2025 by the end of January of 2026, even though I'm not doing my taxes and don't know the exact amount until I file my taxes April 15th. Correct?
Through the chair to the councilman, that's where the optionality of, if you, using your example, if you owed something for 2024, if you paid 100% of that amount, whatever it may be, that will stop penalty and interest from accruing. Or if you know your 2025 number is going to be significantly smaller, so long as you pay 90% of that balance by the January dates, you're also good there. So we run into situations where even though you might not have withholdings or estimates in, you might have a consistent income, then you might pick option A. But if you're, if it's year to year where you might have losses or large amounts of income, you might just take the consistent approach of whatever you paid last year.
All right, and Mr. Chairman, to the Assistant Director, is that state law or is that city law? Is that your policy?
Through the chair to the councilman, it is in state law, reinforced in our ordinance, chapter 192.
Okay, because I just want to make sure, anybody who owes money in 2025 has to pay 90% of their estimate by January of 2026, even though they don't file their taxes until after that, correct?
Through the chair to the
Correct.
councilman, that is correct.
Okay. And then if the city thinks that they owe somebody money, do you send that money out by the end of January, even though they haven't filed their taxes?
Through the chair to the councilman, no, we need a refund request from the taxpayer.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Assistant Director. Thanks,
Thank you.
Chairwoman.
Thank you, Councilman KZ. So hearing no other question, that concludes the CCA taxation. Can you read in Division of Risk Management?
Page 164, Division of Risk Management, Commissioner Eduardo Ramiro. Page 165, total salaries, 2025 unaudited, $427,864. 2026 budget, $587,755. Total expenditures, 2025 unaudited, $2,283,928. 2026 budget, $2,450,789. Page 166, staffing levels, 2025 actual, 6. 2026 budget, 6. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Director and Director, right? Oh, Commissioner, sorry. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. I don't know if you have an intro for this department.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'd like to also introduce two of my staff that are here in person. April Bucci, who is the Administrative Manager for EMS Billing, and Project Coordinator Sierra Gorby, who's our Revenue Collection Specialist. And virtually, we have the rest of my staff is watching, and that's watching, and they are Patrick Mangan, who is our Emergency Preparedness Manager. Also, Keisha Hill Watkins, who is our Project Coordinator, Risk Officer, and our Systems Administrator for a huge project that we're undergoing right now with a software called Origami. And then Sonia Brown, our extremely competent workers' comp manager, who I'm proud to say we had the second lowest number of workers' comp claims in the city's history in 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. Director?
Yeah, through the chair to the council again, pretty straightforward division, 6 head count, fully staffed. We're not asking for any more or any less.
Director, I do see, though, that the expenditures doubled, right, from 948,000 to 2.45 million. Am I seeing this right? Yeah. From 2024 to 2026.
To the chair, that's primarily the contract that we have with QMC, who does the EMS billing.
Got it. So the other contractual, which jumps to 1.5, has to do with that. Okay. Any questions from my colleagues? Councilwoman Hudson?
Thank you. To the commissioner, so your department deals with with risk management. And when the Division of Safety was at the table, I asked about purchasing blocker vehicles or possibly retrofitting vehicles with attenuators to be used instead of expensive vehicles like our fire trucks to block the scene of crashes on highways, because it's difficult and very expensive to replace those types of vehicles. This is an obvious cost to the city. What are we doing to protect our investment in vehicles and keep our first responders safe?
To the chair, to the councilwoman, this is an endeavor that I initiated in 2009. We had a $1.1 million fire engine that was 1 month old that was hit on I-480 as we were blocking out near the airport. The trucking company did have insurance, but we had to ship that vehicle to Minnesota for 5 weeks and put it in a engine truck that was out of service. I've tried since 2009. We had some assistance, but not only do we have to get the blocker vehicles, but we also have to have the budget to then staff them. My recommendation historically has been 1 for the west side, 1 for the east side, and 1 downtown. We cover 90, we cover 77, 176, 71, 480. The issue has been, do we have the staffing? And that's one of the pushbacks I would get from chiefs regularly is we don't have the staffing to man those 24/7, 365. We are very close, and I know that we've had some assistance from City Council, specifically Councilperson Slife, in getting HOS systems, which is another quality safety system that we can transmit to all the our first responder vehicles that are out there. We've had, obviously, council's well apprised of the fact that we lost a firefighter in November of 21, Johnny Tetrick. And so we've tried to escalate that, and we are cognizant of it. We have actually researched it well. I've had 17 years to research this, and we've done the job. We're prepared to try to move forward with it. I know that we've identified through the assistance of Director Drummond vehicles that do that. And so, but we have other systems in place that we can do, and there are other revenue opportunities that I believe that we can look into that I've initially vetted that may be able to sustain this moving forward.
Thank you. And what can we do during this budget session to make sure that this is the year that it happens?
To the chairperson, to the counselor, I just believe that your knowledge of it and the fact that you are in support of this, we'll see it through. We came very close to having this happen a year and a half ago prior to the CFO's arrival. But unfortunately at that time, some capital funds it was necessary to go in a different direction, but it is something we want to look at in capital again. We did have support of the previous chief, and I'm sure previous chiefs, because this is also for police. We've had a police officer where a car rolled on him and crushed his leg. So this goes, EMS has had paramedics who've lost legs by being hit on the highway. So it's something we know ultimately you cannot measure the value of a human being in dollars. So we need to do everything we can to protect them while they're out there.
Thank you. I just want to add, through the chair, this was brought to my attention by when I met with representatives from the CARE Union, and in particular a CARE Union, a former EMT who can no longer, follow through, and he's still part of the. He teaches, but he can no longer be an EMT because of an injury he sustained by being hit by a vehicle while on the job. So this is extremely important, and I believe, in addition to saving lives, it will also save the city money in the long run, and make us more effective, and our safety forces more effective, and keep people safe. So thank you for all the work you've done the past 17 years, and we'll keep pushing for it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Casey?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Madam Chairwoman and the Commissioner, with risk management, we were told at the table from Chief Todd that police overtime for the mayor's travel, there's a risk assessment that they evaluate and then determine what type of security he may need. Madam Chairwoman, to the commissioner, right? Commissioner, yeah. Are you guys involved in that decision making?
To the chairperson, to the councilman, no.
Okay, thank you. So they don't use the risk management department of the city of Cleveland. All right, thank you.
Through the chair to the councilman, I believe that's a safety assessment through public safety.
Okay, thank you.
That's it? Oh, Councilman's life?
Thank you, and I don't.
Do you want to respond? Okay.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm excited for the Haas system to get online. For those that don't know, this is a system that will help your in-car GPS inform you that there are first responders ahead, so that we can try to increase visibility, slow cars down. I think it'll go a long way, and it's a part of the answer. It's not the entirety of the answer, certainly. I just want to make sure, though, that through the chair to the commissioner and Commissioner of Civil Service, to say what you got to say. I want to make sure that what I heard is that there's a reluctance from safety to staff. Is it that the issue is that safety isn't identifying the staff for such equipment? So risk management is advising to use this type of equipment, and another aspect of City Hall is not adhering to that recommendation.
No, to the chair, to councilman. No, that was the initial, when I first brought this up back in 2009, and it was like a 2 to 3 year deal where I was trying to convince safety that they needed this. At that time, it was a reluctance on the part of at that time, their chief, who said, I need staffing, otherwise I'm not going forward with it. Today, Chief Luke and Chief Nada, they're on board with it. So it's a matter of identifying the positions, but I don't know intricately how their staffing's set up, but they're on board. They worked with firefighter Tetrick directly. They knew him, they knew his family, and they're very open to this. When I presented this in 2009 to then Chief Stubbs, they had no law, so there wasn't that tie-in that there is today.
Okay, it's unfortunate that we had to come to this conclusion the hard way. I think that this body needs to push that conversation in safety, identify those positions. We heard during the safety hearing that not only does a fire truck cost like $2 million, but there's also a 3-year lead time. So this is a lot of money that we are throwing out the window when there's a more cost-effective way to not just save money, but more importantly, protect people. So let's make sure they identify those positions. When if we have to find a budgetary solution for that right here and right now, I think that it would save us money in the long run. It'd be worthwhile. So thank you.
Thank you. I do want to talk about the workers' comp numbers. I know that we lost time claims, that increase, medical claims decrease. I'm just curious to know what is driving that increase in lost time claims. And are there any prevention strategies to reduce workplace injuries?
To the chairperson, actually, that number is incorrect. So, well, actually, that's a 2005 number. Let me pull out the latest numbers I have. Okay, here we go. So through those were number of claims filed. So there's a difference between filing and actual claims being allowed, because not everything that gets filed is a pertinent workers' comp claim, because the state has, Ohio Revised Code 4123 stipulates what constitutes a workers' comp claim. And sometimes if you're ill at work, that doesn't necessarily mean it was an employer's responsibility. It was, the person was inherent, their own person, so it's idiopathic. So we have about 50-some claims, usually a year, that even though they're filed, they get disallowed by the state, either through the state acting, because the state is the first arbiter of the claim, but what they do is they get evidence from both the employer and the employee, and they make their decision. Now, both other parties, the employer and employee, have the right to appeal that and say, no, I don't think you have, or to submit further evidence to say, this is why we think we disagree with your opinion. And so those 50-odd claims a year are the ones that get overturned. So our actual numbers for 2025 were in allowed claims, 346.
Talking about instead of the 405?
Yes, because
Okay.
405 is all claims that were filed.
Okay. Got it. And from those 405, how many are appealed or denied?
So it went down to 46, so it was about 50-some.
Councilman Jones?
Madam Chairman, just make sure I have clarification, because a lot of the questions I had earlier has already been talked about.
Okay.
But what I wanted to ask was this concerning the actual claims coming in from the citizens?
To the chairperson, to the councilman, no, these are for city employees only.
I see. Where's the number where it talks about the claims that come in from the citizens who have, do we have that number? Does your department handle that, Madam Chairwoman, to Commissioner?
To the chair, to the councilman, no, we don't. What we're implementing, though, this year is a system called Origami software. It's risk software that is tied in citywide, and that will have a platform for example, Sergeant Pesta, who is the officer in charge of City Hall, for him to log in all the activity that occurs where the citizen, say, falls on city property, all our external ADA, not internal ADA, but external ADA, we'll be able to start tracking all that. Our expectation is that by year 3 of the Origami implementation, we're in like 7 months into it, but by year 3, we'll have enough data in there to be able to do predictive analysis going into the future.
I see. And then, Madam Chairwoman, lastly, workers' compensation, you opened up with your introduction. Can you tell us, why we're doing so well and why those numbers are so low?
So to the chair, to the councilman, so when I came here in 2002, the city had 1,800 claims a year. What basically we did at that time was, anything that happened, we didn't train our employees in employee health and safety. I think we were tacitly involved in following OSHA and PERP regulations. PERP, for everyone's edification, is the Public Employers Risk Reduction Program. Ohio is one of 26 states that does not have OSHA and OSHA inspectors oversee their public employees. They oversee federal and private sector employees, but state, county, municipal, and township employees report to the state of Ohio. And so what we did is we robustly decided, we started training people. We started training our management staff. We made sure, look, have toolbox talks with your staff that are going out there. If you're going out there, have a strategic plan and cutting those trees down. Don't just go up there and try to get them because you got another job to run to. Do it strategically. And so and with Jim Gentile's assistance, in 2005, we did a beta test program where we charged back. In the past, prior to that, we just spread whatever the cost was citywide. What we did at that point through Jim's assistance, and then we implemented permanently in 2006, was to do a chargeback to every department division. So Ed Romero has a claim, but he works in parks, but then he transferred to utilities. That responsibility still rests with parks budget, because that way we know parks will always pay attention to say, hey, we got to make sure that we continue with the safety, continue training our employees, and making sure that everyone goes home in one piece.
Well, listen, I must commend you for, being a part of that and saving the city a lot of money. With that, do we show a column how much we saved? Will we get a refund?
So to the chair, to the councilman, no, the refunds, unfortunately, our workers' comp system in Ohio, which is only one of 4 that are monopolistic, all the other states have open markets where any private insurance company, but there are 4 states, Ohio is one of them, that run it out of the state of Ohio. That particular fund is $28 billion. And they do not, it's not like a mutual company that everyone, when the insurance company has a good year, they give money back. That's left to the discretion of the governor and the CEO of the Bureau of Workers' Comp.
I remember, Madam Chairwoman, to the Commissioner Romero that in years past we were able to get worker compensation refunds. So when you said that these numbers were down, was it the same back then as it is now? Or were we open to the market then? So they can give us a refund.
To the chair, to the councilman, that's correct. So right now, the state of Ohio has always been monopolistic, at least for the last 60 years. And the reason we got the rebates were because there was a clamoring statewide by either public or private entities when they saw what the budget was for the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, and they saw that $28 billion. They have to keep some of that in reserves in case of catastrophic events where, like, say, someone couldn't pay, a company goes out of business and can't pay their debts to their injured workers, so they have to keep some of that money. But a lot of that money they invest in Wall Street. And so when they get a lot of profit, then they come back, and then that's where all, like, the 275,000 employers, both public and private in Ohio, clamor for, hey, Governor DeWine, how about a rebate or a refund on some of our monies? And usually they are accommodating. They are talking about one this year. We don't know because it has to be voted on.
I see. I'm quite sure. I'm biting at the bit on what that could potentially be. What are some of, and then this will be my last question, Madam Chairwoman, and before I end it, I want to say your department does a wonderful job, and I appreciate your longevity with the city and the service of serving our city, and having all of this institutional knowledge that you have. In years past, how much have we got refunds for?
So even prior to my time here at the City of Cleveland, which started on January 7, 2002, in 1999, the City of Cleveland received a $21 million rebate from the state of Ohio.
I remembered that one.
Yes. Yes.
That was the last time we received
No,
it?
no, we've gotten them since then. They have gone down because the way they determine how much each entity gets a refund is based on the volume and the premium. But when we do a good job, then our premiums are lower. And so if our premiums are lower, then the percentage of money that we get back is lower. So actually, in the days that we were not as well managed, we would get a couple million back. But, recently, because we have been managing our claims well, it's been in the, 60,000, 100,000. So, but in the long term, I believe it's obviously better to manage better than wait for a refund that is, maybe this is the wrong term, but capricious, because we don't make that decision. That's made by the governor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, to the distinguished gentleman. I yield the floor.
Oh, you're staying right on time. I love it. Thank you. Hearing no other questions, thank you, Commissioner. Can you read into record Division of Printing and Reproduction and Storeroom and Warehouse?
Page 381, Printing and Reproduction, Commissioner Michael Hewitt. Page 382, total salaries 2025 unaudited, $714,239. 2026 budget, $807,534. Page 383, total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $2,308,909. 2026 budget, $3,005,187. Page 384, staffing levels, 2025 actual 9, 2026 budget 12. Page 385, Division of Mailroom, total salaries 2025 unaudited, $53,740. 2026 budget, $57,361. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $454,067. 2026 budget, $723,667. Page 386, staffing level 2025 actual 1, 2026 budget 1. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay,
So,
Director.
through the chair to the committee, just a few things. Want to introduce Commissioner Mike Hewitt, who's been here a while. Also, the future of the department, Randy Porch and Lisa Hart, who back him up and are senior management over at the print shop. There's one thing I do want to clear up before we get started. So I know there was some discussion specifically with the council president and Councilman Polensik about including the logo for City Council on documents that are sent out. I want everyone to be aware that I have had those discussions and gave something in writing to the Council President outlining that we will commit to going forward from here on, and I've already talked to the print shop crew of anything that is a citywide distributed distribution, pamphlets, that sort of thing, that we will be sure to put City Council's logo on that alongside the mayor's. I understand, that was an area of concern, so we wanted to make sure that that got addressed before we went into the actual budget.
Got it. Thank you, Director. Commissioner, do you want to share anything before we ask questions?
To the chair, I'm going to defer to the new face of the Division of Printing, Randaline Porsche and Lisa Hart.
Good morning, Council.
Move it closer to you.
Okay. Good morning, Council. Or good afternoon.
Okay. I do have a question before opening it up to my colleagues. One is the maintenance from 2023 to 2026. This is probably maintenance contracts tied into aging, maybe equipment that's taking place, and I'm just curious to know. I mean, we are printing more. Is our equipment aging, and do we need to upgrade?
386.
I have it on my book here. Do I use this one?
Through the council to the chairwoman. This is for our mail inserter, the software and hardware, any preventive maintenance that we have on the machines, our postal software, any parts that we need. It also includes our rooftop HVAC units as well.
Oh, it's for like overall department. Got it. Okay. I do, so my other question is, most of my residents speak only Spanish, and I've always tried to like do the bilingual newsletter. I think the challenge has been for us to get like a spreadsheet or something that you could identify Spanish speakers or any other languages. I'm curious to know if the department has the capacity to kind of help do that so that we're sending, communication in residents' language.
To the chairman, I know that we print a lot of bilingual flyers.
But it just goes out to everyone. It's not specifically like to a list that you guys have. I'm not sure if that's something that's purchased.
Well, to the chair, typically we'll do one in English and another one in Spanish. Those are the most common.
To the chair, if I'm understanding your question, you're wondering if we have a mailing list of bilingual speakers. Either Lisa or Randy may be able to chime in, but I don't believe we have one. That's something basically printing and the print shop is directed to print certain things, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner, but given a mailing list of who those should go to, but I don't know that we always have that breakdown of who's Spanish speaking and who's not. But to the Commissioner's point, I mean, a lot of the communications we're sending out, I know we've had door hangers and that sort of thing. We've got the English on one side and then the Spanish on the other. So we do that a lot. But in terms of a mailing list, I'm not aware of us having a central mailing list of either Spanish speaking or other bilingual folks out there.
Got it. Thank you. Because I know like Vote Builder gives us that option. It'll have residents in different languages and it'll specify what's their language. So I don't know if that's a matter of like a software or partnering with an organization that could get us that information. But as our city's getting diverse, it would be great to send out communication in residents' initial language.
Yeah, to the chairwoman, it's definitely a good idea, interesting idea. I mean, my first thought, and this is just a thought at the table, is to get with Urban AI and see what kind of analytics they have, and especially when it comes to residents, and we could work with them on that.
Okay, thank you, Director. Councilman Slife?
Thank you, and they actually did a great English Arabic community meeting flyer for me, so thank you. I'm sorry, can you remind me your names?
Through the council to the chair, my name is Randaline Porsche.
Porsche?
Yes.
Okay. I heard Porsche, and I was like, oh, cool.
The chair to the councilman, Lisa Hart.
Lisa Hart. And Ms. Porsche, it looked like, did you have something that it almost looked like we interrupted you starting to say something. Was there? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was deputized to ask the question about the logo by Councilman Polensek, so you beat him to it. Congratulations, and I have no further questions.
Oh, okay, good. Councilman Jones?
I'm still laughing over here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, Chairwoman. First of all, I just want to thank Mr. Hewitt. When I saw him sit down in the chair, I said, "Are you still here?" And he has been here for quite some time, has done a wonderful job way back when I had hair on my head. And I just really appreciate the work that you guys do. Whenever we need to have something done that is put out of our shop, you guys do a wonderful job. Looking at Madam Chairwoman to Commissioner Hewitt on page 381, it seems like when I look at these numbers, they're quite impressive. And you put newsletters, brochures, and those sorts of things. May I ask, Madam Chairwoman, do we, to the Commissioner, can we use your shop to put our own newsletters and mailers out if we want to do that? I know that oftentimes, for some reason, we can't do that. Why can't we do that, Madam Chairwoman, to the director? Because one of the things is council has a lot of newsletters. I know that some of the stuff that we send out to some of the printing shops are very exorbitant in terms of their cost and quite expensive. And so why isn't it that we can't use our own print shop in-house? Because years ago, we used to be able to do that. And it seems like over the time that has changed.
Through the chair to the councilman, I'm not sure if it's a case of you can't do it, but I know that you guys being council, are contracted out with a different firm. So you tend to use, the firm that you're contracted out with.
So do we have the ability, Mr. President, to the commissioner, if we choose to use our own funds, to keep all of our stuff in-house? Because I see this happening a lot across this entire budget book, is shared services. And so the question is, if I have mailers or newsletters and I want to go through your shop, I should be able to be allowed to do that. And I don't know why we don't do that. So can we start doing that?
So through the chair to the councilman, again, this is a kind of a council policy. You guys are contracted out with somebody else, I believe.
You need to use city funds. And we basically have two primary rules, non-personal and non-political as criteria.
I see. Okay. And that's it?
There's some other rules, and I could share those to you.
Okay. Well, I don't mind because you're going to give me that tour, that long-awaited tour. I would love to do that. I just want to thank you for the work that you do, that you've been continuing to do, and your staff and the great work that you do. And I can't wait to come out there, so we got to set up something soon. And with that, Mr. Chairman, and then you can tell me all the rules.
Thank you.
I yield, Mr. Chairman,
All
the
right,
floor
thank
to you.
We will now go to Office of Budget and Management.
Page 167, Office of Budget and Management, Budget Administrator Nicole Gallagher.
Oh, hold up 1 second, I apologize. Where's mailroom? Did we skip one?
They read it in already.
Oh, they read it in. They read it in.
So we're good?
All right, go ahead. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. Please proceed.
Page 168, total salaries, 2025 unaudited, 693,466. 2026 budget, 891,813. Total expenditures, 2025 unaudited, 930,165. 2026 budget, 1,189,476. Page 169, staffing level 2025 actual 8, 2026 budget 11. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Yeah, through the chair to the council, we've had our budget administrator here through all of these proceedings. So Nicole Gallagher, I'll turn over any questions to her or anything else we can answer.
Ms. Gallagher.
To the council president and the council, thank you for having me. I did want to introduce most of my staff that is here today. So in the back here, we have Carter Van Fossen. He is a project coordinator. He really spearheaded our new budget book software project that you see here today, and as well as our transparency portal that will be rolling out in April. We have Michelle Reese. She is our budget and management analyst. She's been with the city over 10 years in OBM. Yeah. And behind her, we have Tammy Tracy, our senior budget and management analyst. She's been with the city 20 years, with OBM about 6 months, 8 months. She came from the Department of Health, and she also worked in Public Works. And in the back, we have David Roby. He has been with the city two or 3 years. He came to OBM last year, and he has been our grants guru, and he has spearheaded the project with implementing AMPA-Fund and getting that to go live. And we are missing our, oh, where's Savannah? Oh, there's Savannah. So we have our deputy budget administrator, Savannah. She is our deputy budget administrator over operations. She came to us a year ago, and our other deputy budget administrator just, she had a new grandson that was born yesterday, so she is not here. And we have one employee that is also out today.
Okay.
And I am open
And
to any
through the-
questions.
Through the chair to the committee, I just want to point out, I've been talking about the strategic business unit that we're setting up. So if you look on page 169, there's 2 additional headcount. And that's what those are going to be for, is specific to grants and centralizing that effort. So just wanted to point that out as we move forward.
So they'll be working under the budget administrator, which would be Ms. Gallagher.
To the chair, that's correct initially. Again, we did studies to see what other cities were doing with this. Some of them had groups of 30 or 40 people handling just grants, others just a handful. Our approach is going to be assign 2 new employees to Nicole, see how this works out, how we can build this out, and then eventually, if it makes sense to pull it out of OBM and make it its own standalone unit, like a lot of cities do, then we'll do that. But we didn't want to add 20 positions that we know we weren't going to fill right away. We wanted to see, get a few headcount in here, get them used to the new software and processing these grants.
All right, thank you. We'll take questions now from any council members. Do any council members have any questions for Office of Budget and Management? Councilman Charles Slife.
I'll just say, good job, Carter. I think the color ramp is very calming. So, thank you. Yes.
All right. I don't see any questions for Office of Budget and Management. Therefore, we'll move on to the next one, which is Division of Financial Reporting and Control.
Page 161, Division of Financial Reporting and Control, City Controller Leslie Camargo, CPA. Page 162, total salaries 2025 unaudited, $1,145,101. 2026 budget, $1,353,097. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $1,597,686. 2026 budget, $1,922,296. Page 163, staffing levels. 2025 actual 16, 2026 budget 22. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Please proceed, Director.
Sure. Through the chair to the council, I just want to point out, I know the question came up from Councilman Conwell earlier, who is the controller. So this is the controller, Leslie Camargo. She's the reason that we've had several years of ACFR's financial reports without findings, and is doing a stellar job. The only thing to point out in this division is that we've got one additional head count and an additional staff accountant. I know her team, when they're putting together the financial reports every year, I mean, they're working overtime, they're working nights and sometimes weekends, and we wanted to get them one additional head count to help out with that.
Okay. And that is Mr. Gentile's right-hand person. They used to send him around the halls, Cleveland City Council for a while. So thank you so much. Do you want to make any remarks?
Okay. Hi, I just want to thank you for having me. Thank you so much for the nice introduction, Director. But I can't take all the credit. I worked under Jim for over 10 years, and he trained me, so thank you to him. He is the reason why we have such great financial reporting. I also want to take some time to thank the Office of Financial Reporting and Control for all of their hard work and dedication, because without them, the office would not be as successful as it is right now.
Thank you. Now, you left one time and came back.
I did. Through the chair.
Went back and got you, right?
Basically, yes.
Okay. I remember that. All right, thank you. Any questions for financial reporting and control? Councilman Christopher Harsh.
Thank you, Chair. And it's not really specific to this department, but at the end of a really long movie, when you start to scroll through the credits and you see all the people that were involved in making the movie, I feel like that's the part of the budget that we're on here today. So we finally get into the guts of who does the actual work of putting together the budget and the controller and all that. So thank you all very much for the work you do. I do have one specific request, though, for next year's budget, and I'll ask it now. Could we, in the future, get an appendix of just the grants that the city is managing, just in one sort of printout, so that we can look at the there's grants in different departments and we lose track of them, but could we just create one appendix for grants next year?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So through the chair to the councilman, I know this request has come up several times. We've got info requests for it this year.
Yeah.
And with the new strategic business unit, should council approve the budget, we can kind of assign that to them to take a look and see if we can add an appendix.
Okay, I don't know whose actual job it would be, so I'll just throw it out here. But thank you for all the work you do, and appreciate everything you guys do to make the city run.
Thank you. That's an important question. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that that's something that all of us would like to do, is make sure we're doing it. Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones.
Through the chair, to the Comptroller Camargo. So one of the things it says that the division also performs certain accounting tasks that are not applicable to any outside division or department, and issues best practices, accounting policies and procedures throughout the city. What are those?
Through the chair to the council person, that would be procedures relating to our accounting system, how to use the accounting system. That would also be procedures on how to reconcile our bank accounts.
Okay. So through the chair to the comptroller, does that have anything to do with any practices as it relates to reimbursements, policies, anything like that, or is that someone else?
So through the chair to the councilwoman, so it's general financial reporting. So the end of the year, we put together this annual comprehensive financial report, which is all divisions across the city, all the aggregated data across the city. So that's what they focus on. They focus on making sure we're GASB compliant, that we're following the proper accounting rules. And as the controller said, she's able to go into our accounting system and pull data through what's available in our accounting system.
So no, not anything to do with reimbursements. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Excuse me, who would that be? Who develops those from the city of Cleveland overall?
Through the chair of the council person, we have a reimbursement policy. I think it comes out of accounts, but the division of accounts does the reimbursements. So we'll look for the actual policy and get it to staff.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions for financial reporting and control, thank you, Ms. Camargo. We'll now move to Three departments, if you could read these three departments at the same time: payroll reserve fund, internal service fund, and rainy day fund.
Page 285, Rainy Day Reserve Fund, 2025 unaudited ending balance, 70,296,305. 2026 budgeted, 70,296,305. Page 294, Payroll Reserve Fund, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, 0. 2026 budgeted, 0. Page 364, Internal Service Fund Summary. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we'll hear any questions regarding these three departments. Just a very quick question. Why was it 17 million in 2024, and then we have not had in payroll reserve fund on page 294? Why was it 17 million actual spent in 2024, but nothing was spent or budgeted in the following years?
To the council president, that was for the 27th pay that occurred in 2024.
So that's in the bank somewhere. That's just money that's sitting there that we still have, right?
No, to the council president, so when we created the fund, it was 90 million. We actually transferred 17 million as an expense out of that fund to the general fund in order to pay for the 27th pay.
Okay, so that was last year, 2024, where we had the 27th pay period that we had to pay.
Correct, and that won't happen again
I
until
thought
like
that
2035.
But I thought that we put rainy day money away, but then I thought we also kept the 27th pay somewhere.
Yeah, to the chair, that is the payroll reserve fund. So payroll reserve fund is separate from the rainy day fund, and that's what Nicole's talking about. We had 90 million in there. Now the balance is 73 because we pulled out the 17.
So that's what I'm trying to get to. So there's 73 million somewhere in some account that we have because we put that money into the payroll reserve fund for the 27th pay. Okay, because I knew that all that money hadn't been depleted. That's why I was trying to make sure that we. Okay. All right. So 73 million is somewhere. We know
So-
where it would be located? Where it would be listed? Yes.
So to the council president, it's actually on page 285. Yeah, so there's no expenses budgeted there. We really only use that when we really need it. So when you see the 73 million ending balance, that's what's currently in there.
So here's the reason I'm asking that question. I know that we got to look under pillow cushions and then everything else to look for dollars in the next year because we have some outstanding payments due for a couple of things. What will precipitate us to use this? What will I know it's best practice to leave it there to try to let it gain interest because it gives us a stronger rating, but if we really needed that money, what would be the extenuating circumstances for us to use that money?
So through to the chair. So again, if you'll remember, this is restricted by law for separation payments as well as the pay. So everybody gets hung up on that 27th pay, but that's not only what it's for. It's also for the liability that we have for separation payments across the city. And I believe last year we looked at that liability was about $90 million. So I know that it's more now. So we are somewhat underfunded if you're looking at what we actually have in the bank versus what the liability is.
Okay, so we have about 90 million in liability, but we only have about 73 in the bank.
To the chair, that's correct. 90 was the number last year. I haven't looked at the updated number, but it could only have gone up.
To the chair, I mean, right now legislatively it can only be used for 27th pay or separation payments. It would take if we needed to use it for something else, council would have to change the legislation, which would probably roll some of this back to the general fund if that's what we needed to do. But right now, we can't. We can only use it for those two purposes under state law.
And to the chair, I know we've had these conversations, but I would just caution about what the rating agencies would think if we start dipping into these funds.
I totally understand, and I'm cautious. I'm also, we got some bills that's going to come due, and we got hit with one a couple of years ago for $20 million. And I made sure that all my colleagues are receiving the updates on Gateway. There's going to have to be some real tough decisions that are going to have to be made about what we do with some of these bills that we have coming up. So I just want to know where the money is available and what we would have to do if we had to access it so that we can protect the general fund or the operating budget as much as possible. So just something that we could talk about further, Director, but I just want to make sure we keep that option open if we had to. Okay? All right. Any other questions regarding payroll reserve fund, internal service funds, or rainy day reserve funds? And once again, how much is in the rainy day? Could you tell me that again? It's on page 285. How much is in the rainy day fund?
So, to the chair, yes, that balance is in there, so it's a little over 70 million. That's up from 67 million last year because of interest earnings. Yeah, we didn't put any additional money in there. It's just from the interest.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the finance team? All right. We'll move to the next item, and actually, if we can hear all of these together as well, and that will be the Sinking Fund Commission, the Revenue Bond Debt Service Revenues and Expenditures, Debt Service Unvoted, Tax Supported Obligations.
Page 355, Debt Service Fund Summary, 2025 unaudited ending balance, 35,441,508. 2026 budgeted, 31,128,439. Page 358, Debt Service Revenues, 2025 unaudited total receipts, 90,548,835. 2026 budgeted, 129,765,164. Page 359, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, 9,548,835. 2026 budgeted, 129,765,164. Page 360, unvoted tax supported obligations, total balance, 400,380,000. Total due, 47,317,976. Page 366, Sinking Fund General Operations, Justin M. Bibb, President. Paul C. Barrett, Secretary. Blaine A. Griffin, Member. Elizabeth C. Ruby, Assistant Secretary. Page 367, 2025 unaudited total salaries, 203,708. 2026 budgeted, 230,213. Page 368, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, 927,412. 2026 budgeted, 1,024,248. 2025 staffing level 2, 2026 budgeted 2. Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Director.
To the chair, I mean, I think everybody knows Betsy Ruby. She's been here a long time managing the city's debt portfolio. The only thing really to announce, I mean, it's basically a two-person team in Sinking Fund. Lori Ernest did retire earlier in the year and has been replaced by Dan Hinkle, who's done a good job. He came over from OBM. But other than that, we're here to take any questions.
All right. Does anybody have any questions regarding the Sinking Fund? And do you want to announce another one of our hidden jewels in City Hall? Do you want to introduce? You did?
Betsy? Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. I got fog, man. You didn't see that this time. Excuse me. All right. Ms. Ruby, did you want to make any statements? Okay. All right. Any questions for Ms. Ruby? All right, seeing no questions for Ms. Ruby, thank you so much for your service, for years of service at the city. All right, we'll go to the round and third and head home. Non-departmental expenses, county auditor deductions, transfer to other funds, and other administrative.
Page 280, County Auditor Deductions, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, 1,169,629. 2026 budgeted, $2,600,000. Page 281, transfers to other funds, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $68,895,704. 2026 budgeted, $147,645,464. Page 282, other administrative, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $22,339,876. 2026 budgeted, $23,670,500. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director?
Yeah, through the chair to the committee, the only thing I want to point out is page 280 with the county auditor deductions. I just want everybody to know, if you didn't know, that that's related to the election. So that's why you see fluctuations in costs. And it's a little bit, I guess you wouldn't automatically connect county auditor deductions with an election, but that's what those expenses are for.
Yeah, we learned that a while ago, so thank you for reminding us that, because I think a lot of us asked that question before, 4 years ago, so got it. All right, any questions regarding the non-departmental expenses? Any questions regarding non-departmental expenses? Okay, let's move to the last one, restricted income tax. Rick?
Page 285, restricted income tax, 2025 unaudited ending balance, $2,714,892. 2026 budgeted, $61,039. Page 287, restricted income tax, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $67,365,707. 2026 budgeted, $68,678,853. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Director?
Through the chair to the committee, no real announcements on this, but we're here to take any questions.
Okay. Any questions regarding Councilman Christopher Harsh?
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. So on page 282, we have the income tax revenue at 508 million even for, I'm sorry, for at 507,820,000 for 2025. And then we've got another income tax revenue on page 287. I don't understand why there's two different places for income tax.
So through the chair to the councilman, 1/9 of the restricted income tax, or 1/9 of our income tax overall is restricted income tax that has to go specifically to debt service. So
That's...
or capital.
Okay. One goes there. Okay, got it. Thank you.
You have something else, Mr. Gentile? All right. Any other questions regarding restricted? Councilman Kevin Bishop?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, to the director, property management is requesting a facility needs assessment and a facility management software. Have we put this in the RIT in the budget to pay for this with the RIT funds?
Through the chair of the council person, I'm not sure if we got that request. I mean, if we got that request, we would look at that. So I'm not positive we received that yet.
Okay.
But if they send it to us, we'll definitely look at it as an inclusion.
Okay, is this something that we can, we can make a request or we can pay for with the RIT dollars?
The chair of the council, it's eligible to be used for that. So.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to submit that during reconciliation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for, yes?
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman. It doesn't have to go through reconciliation if you just send us, have Public Works, did you say it was Public Works? I'm sorry. Public Works, this request of us, because once you budget this amount, as long as they send us that request, we will set up that project for them, because it'll come right out of here if this budget's passed like this.
All right. Any other questions regarding restricted income tax? All right. Seeing no other questions, that is actually concludes our budget hearings. Director, thank you. You survived. Mr. Gentile helped you. And Miss Gallagher helped you? I'm getting used to saying Miss Gallagher now. Just to my colleagues, if you have any requests, work through your chairs. I do want to caution everybody that this year's budget is a little bit tighter than it has been in past years. And we already have several requests, but I just want to make sure everybody recognizes that this year's budget is a little bit tighter than past years, and there's going to be a lot more uncertainties. So I would ask if any of the chairs to be very, very cognizant of that when anybody is submitting any kind of request. Myself, Councilman Slife, and Councilwoman Santana will begin to have a discussion with the administration around reconciliation items. But once again, I'm asking my colleagues to show some restraint this year because the budget is a lot tighter this year, and we also still have a lot of unused money that several council members have from past years. So, that being said, when is the second reading? We don't have yet because once we do reconciliation, second reading could be as early as Monday, the 9th, because we have to have it 3 times. And I usually don't like it to bump up until the last day. And when I looked at my calendar, we could do it. I know the following week, many are going to be out for the National League of Cities. Hold on.
A week from Monday.
Yeah, but, okay, 1 second.
On Monday, a week from Monday, you're right.
Yeah, so if we did it on the 9th, we would have the second reading on March the 9th, and then the third reading and passage on the 23rd, okay? So the goal is to try to have it done and have the budget done by the 23rd, okay? All right? And once again, any request goes through the chair of that committee. And then once again, myself, Councilman Slife, and Councilwoman Santana will look at the final list, and then we'll submit to the administration reconciliation items, okay? All right, any other questions? All right, thanks everybody. This Committee of Finance, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is adjourned by call of the chair.